Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Beginner Vinyasa. My name's Teresa. So we'll start today just in a traditional seated posture, whatever that looks like today, whatever feels right. If you want to sit on a pillow or a cushion, especially if you feel a lot of tension in your hips or if your knees are way up high when you sit, having a cushion under the seat can help elevate the hips and make it more comfortable. So as you start to settle in, I like to rock a little bit side to side just to kind of settle in, feel the way that I'm supported in my seat. Let the eyes settle on one spot, or maybe even close the eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. You can bring your hands to your knees. They can be palms face up if you are looking to receive a little energy today. Or you can flip them palms face down if you could benefit from a more grounding energy. And as you start to sit here, begin to acknowledge the breath. And you don't have to change it yet. Just starting to acknowledge what your breath feels like naturally. Maybe becoming aware of the way that your body feels. So in this class, you don't need any props, but if you have blocks or straps or blankets that you like to use, you can feel free to add them at any point that feels right to you. Good, 2 more. Inhale. Exhale any noise. Last one, any noise that feels right. And then seal the lips, but continue with that slightly exaggerated breath in and out through the nose. Notice if this breath feels very different than what your natural breath felt like. If you can feel any heat starting to build up already just by changing the breath. Or maybe just starting to feel a little calming energy. And then establish that more natural deep breath. In and out through the nose, even inhales and exhales. And when we come to yoga, we might arrive in class with the idea that we'll be working on improving our flexibility, or we're like super stressed out and we need to fix it, or literally physical ailments you're looking to heal. A lot of the times we come to the mat with the idea that we need to be fixed. So while you're sitting here and breathing and arriving on your mat, I want you to toss that idea in the trash. Maybe begin to contemplate the concept that you are already complete and whole the way that you are. That you don't need to be fixed. All of these quote unquote improvements can exist while you are already perfect. So just because you want to improve doesn't mean that you're lacking in any way. You can be both grateful for where you are and also working towards improving it and looking forward to where you're going. So maybe for this class, maybe even just for the next breath, surrender to the idea that you do not need to be fixed. You are whole and complete. And this whole thing that we're about to do is just returning you to that idea of wholeness. So maybe taking 2 or 3 more breaths, really returning to the breath and using that connection to the body to keep you in the moment throughout class. And if you'd like to dedicate this class to anyone or anything in particular, yourself, a pet, a loved one, or something greater than yourself, you can settle in on that now. And then bringing both hands to heart center, keeping the fingers close together. Press the thumbs into the sternum and lift the chest into the thumbs. We'll seal all these dedications with a nice deep sighing breath. So breathing in through the nose and soft jaw out the mouth. Bow the chin to the chest. And start to blink open the eyes. Take in your mat, take in your space. And we're going to start in Tadasana today. So standing in mountain pose at the top of your mat. You can make your way there however you want. So once you're at the top of your mat, your feet are close together, maybe the big toes touch. There can be a little bit of space between the heels. I like to rock a little bit forward and back, spread out the toes, really let myself feel grounded in my feet. And then once I have that connection with my feet, I imagine pushing my feet apart. So once I imagine pushing my feet apart, I engage the outsides of the legs and the glutes, which automatically slightly tucks my tailbone down towards the heels. So squeezing through the core, nice and long through the spine, we'll continue to find this strong mountain pose, hands at our side. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And as you inhale, nice deep breath in, we'll sweep the arms up overhead. The very top of the inhale, you can't take any more breath in, maybe the palms touch. And then as you exhale, release forward fold, and you can bend through the knees. Inhale, lift halfway, let the palms find the shins as you roll the shoulders away from the ears, and exhale, fold and release. Inhale, arms sweep all the way up. Again, maybe the palms touch at the top. Notice if your legs are active here, and exhale, dive straight back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, feel the back body open, and exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Again, maybe the palms touch, maybe a little bit of a back bend, lifting the gaze up towards the thumbs. And exhale, dive straight back down, last time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, your choice if you want to add a back bend. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Good, moving into Sun Salutation A. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, Balasana. Good, keep the fingers really, really wide, shoulder width distance apart with the hands. Active through the legs. The hips are about shoulder height, maybe a little bit higher, just to protect the back. So not sagging way low, either in line with the shoulders or a little bit higher. Notice how this plank feels. Usually our first plank can be the most difficult because our body's not used to moving yet, but this is very important because it's getting all of our muscles nice and active. So one more deep breath in. First vinyasa, we'll lower knees, chest, and chin. Chest goes between the thumbs. Inhale, slide through, baby cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. From down dog, you can pedal out the feet, bend the knees, any movements that feel good, you can explore them. The first down dog of the class always feels like a nice big stretch. Notice where you're feeling the stretch. You can feel it in the back of the legs. You can feel it in the shoulders, in the chest, the arms. Keep those fingers really wide. Press the index finger and the thumb. Come nice and high on the toes And then bend through the knees, allow the spine to be really long, and then start to draw the heels towards the floor. So you can always keep your knees bent, keeping the spine long here. As you inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, tippy-toe your way all the way to the front of the mat. When you get here, we'll find a ragdoll pose. So feet are hips-width distance apart, 2 fists between big toes. Bend through the knees nice and generously. Grab opposite elbows. Relax the head and neck, let gravity pull those elbows towards the floor. You can rock side to side. Shake no, nod yes. Good. And then let's open up the shoulders and neck. And then finding stillness, release that grip of opposite elbows. Inhale, halfway lift. Zip those legs together. Exhale, folding forward. And then as you inhale, the arms sweep all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe the palms touch. Maybe you have that back bend if it makes you feel long. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, Vinyasa, either knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga if you feel ready for it. Inhale, slide through cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Good. So this time in downward facing dog, inhale forward to plank. Exhale, drop the knees. We'll move through cat and cow. So inhaling to cow, tuck the toes, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, cat, untuck the toes, press the mat away, chin to the chest. Inhale to cow, maybe even bending into the elbows to open up through the chest. And exhale to cat, really spreading those shoulder blades wide as you press the mat away. Good. From that cat pose, keeping the space between the shoulder blades, just shift the gaze forward, roll those shoulders a little bit away from the ears. Step 1 foot at a time back, plank pose. Good. 1 inhale and plank. Exhale, Vinyasa your way, knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Inhale through your back bend, either cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, step 1 foot at a time to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky, maybe at a back bend if it makes you feel long. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Awesome. From here, let's find chair pose, Utkatasana. So sitting nice and low, biceps are up by the ears, right away engaging through the stomach. So we don't have this deep back bend, right? We're squeezing the core, drawing the tailbone towards the heels, nice and long through the spine, through the crown of the head, the whole length of the spine. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, drop a little lower. Breath in. Exhale, lower. You can do this one more time. Deep breath in. Exhale, a little lower. Last breath in. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, and move through your Vinyasa. So on that exhale, lowering down. Inhale, your back bend, keep those elbows close to the ribs. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. From downward facing dog, inhale the right leg to the sky, 3-legged dog. Keep those hips square, so those right toes are pointing down towards the floor. Stay here for a little bit longer. Notice the way that the weight distribution might feel a little uneven in the hands. Try to even them out. Keep drawing this left heel towards the floor and firing up through the right leg. One more inhale. Exhale, the right foot steps forward, warrior 1. So pivot on that back heel. so that both heels are grounded. Then inhale the arms up. Good. So your feet here are on railroad tracks as opposed to one straight line. So if you feel a little bit wobbly, you might feel less wobbly walking the right foot more to the right side. So shoulders are away from the ears. If you feel this a lot in the lower back, squeeze the core. Imagine that tailbone going down towards the heel instead of towards the back of the mat. Good. Inhale through the fingertips. Exhale, clasp the hands behind your back. Inhale, slide the hands down your back leg. And as you exhale, we'll humble the warrior, folding inside the right knee. So the chest is going towards the middle of your mat. Your right shoulder is by your right knee. The spine is long. So your gaze will either be directly below you on the mat, or if you're a little bit lower, your gaze might be back by your left toes. Your hands can either be resting on your lower back, or if it's okay with your shoulders, you'll start to lift those hands up and overhead. So someday, in this lifetime or the next, the crown of the head touches the mat, and your hands actually touch the top of your mat too, up and overhead. Good, so one more nice deep breath here. Good, root down through those feet. Inhale, rise all the way up, warrior one. Release those hands, reaching up to the sky. For warrior one, we're gonna do a little bit of a tricky move, stepping into eagle pose. So really working the weight into the right leg. You'll wrap this left leg around the right, stepping forward, bending into the right knee, squeezing those legs together. Already finding a drishti, a gaze, a non-moving point to help keep you balanced. Focusing on the gaze, squeezing the legs together, and pressing down with your right foot will help keep you balanced. The arms open up to a T. On this side, the right arm will be under the left, and then you can either grab opposite shoulders or find those full eagle arms, palms touching. Gaze is beyond the hands. 3 breaths here. Every inhale, the elbows lift. Every exhale, the shoulders relax. Good, 2 more. Embracing the wobbles. Good. Now, another tricky thing. Keeping these eagle arms, you'll start to unravel the legs and find a warrior 3. So this left leg will kick back as the arms are reaching forward. So your warrior 3 is just as much a warrior 3 if your toes are just hovering, your left toes are just hovering above the floor, or if you're completely perpendicular here. Most importantly, you're just one straight line from that left heel all the way up to the crown of the head. So we'll take one more inhale, really finding length from the left heel to the crown of the head, and then take a giant step back into a high lunge with these eagle arms. Awesome. And if at any point you fell out of it, you'll just make your way here whenever you're ready. So from these eagle arms, you can release them. Inhale the arms all the way up to the sky. And as you exhale, we'll open up to warrior 2. So pivoting on this back heel, gaze is over the right fingers. From warrior 2, just bring the hands to the hips. We're gonna do a little self-correction here. So as you inhale, straightening the right leg, notice our hips naturally wanna be like kind of sassy in this pose and leaning more to the left. Try to level out your hips and then bend back into the right knee. See how different that feels. Another correction you can do is bringing your right hand to the outside of the right knee. Just gently engage the leg to press the knee into the hand. Again, exploring using the outside muscles of the leg and glute so you can see your right big toe. Good. One nice strong breath in warrior 2. Inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel those hands down, step the right foot back, and make your way through a vinyasa. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, drop onto your knees. Let your knees come as wide as the mat, big toes touching, child's pose. Nice wide-legged child's pose. Let the hands be nice and long here, forehead touching the mat. And just notice how the body feels. I was actually just talking before this class about how so many times, quote unquote, advanced yogis have a lot of difficulty in a beginner class because they're so used to flowing that the movements become sort of automatic. You go into muscle memory, you lose that awareness, which is the whole point, right? So just notice the way that your body feels, notice the way that the breath feels after some movement. Again, surrendering to this concept that you are complete and whole, just the way that you are. And then pressing into the palms, we'll start to make our way back into that downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale the left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Let's keep with nice square hips in that three-legged dog. Starting to engage through the core, really firing up through the left leg, kicking through the left heel as the right heel draws down towards the earth, even through the hands. One more deep breath in. And exhale, that left foot steps forward, warrior one. Pivoting on those back toes, so both heels are grounded. Inhale the arms up. And again, if you're a little wobbly, just walk the left foot more to the left side. Shoulders are relaxed. Pressing into the outside of your right foot, so the heel of your right foot. Inhale for the fingertips. Exhale, clasp the hands behind your back. Inhale, draw the knuckles down the back leg as you open the heart. And exhale, humbling this warrior, fully inside the left knee. So the heart is reaching towards the floor, which means that your gaze might be on the mat next to your left toes, or they can be back by your right toes. Your hands can be on your lower back, or again, up and overhead. Keeping both heels grounded. Both hips are facing forward, so drawing the left hip a little back, right hip a little bit forward usually. One more breath. And the next inhale, root down, rise up, warrior one. Release the grip of the hands so that the arms sweep up overhead. Focus on that drishti, that gaze as we step forward into eagle pose, Garudasana. The right leg crosses over the left as you bend into the left knee, squeezing those legs together. Arms come out to a T, left arm is under right, and either grabbing opposite shoulders or finding those full eagle arms. So a couple breaths here. Trying to keep the hips facing forward, not twisted over to the side, elbows above knees. Inhaling the elbows up, exhale, the shoulders relax. Squeezing the legs together, especially if you're feeling very wobbly. One more breath. Now keeping these eagle arms coming into warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. So your right toes are maybe hovering off the floor. This can be your warrior three. This can be your warrior three. Or you can start to come totally parallel with the earth, keeping your hips in line with each other. One more deep breath in as you lengthen from right heel to the crown of the head. And then big step back, high lunge with eagle arms. Good. And meeting us here, if your step back wasn't big enough, you can adjust at any point. Inhale, the arms reach, releasing those eagle arms, just finding length. And then exhale, open up, warrior two. So again, adjusting your feet whenever you need to. You're not glued to the mat, right? So that same self-correction on the second side, hands come to the hips, straighten the left leg. Notice if you're feeling a little right side sassy, just correcting the hips and bending back into the left knee. If you want to do that other self-correction, the left hand comes outside the left knee. You can press the knee into the hand, engaging the outer muscles of the legs. Find that strong warrior two. One full breath. Good, one inhale here. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step the left foot back, and float away with a vinyasa. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, your back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, finding child's pose. So this child's pose, let's keep the knees close together. And we'll bring the hands back by our feet. So I wanted to make sure to show you this option so that you can feel the difference. So with this option, your chest is concaving, so you're folding over the knees. And your head might not touch the ground. You might want a block or a blanket or something to have that connection with the floor. But letting the shoulders totally relax. And just take a minute to notice how this version of child's pose feels. Good, one more breath. And starting to roll your way up to sit. Good. So from your knees, we're going to come up into gate pose. So I'm turning this way. Depending on your space, you might also want to turn this way. You might want to have a blanket underneath your knees because we're going to be up on our knees for a little while. So for gate pose, the hips are directly over the knees. Hands can come to your hips. Let's kick the right leg out first. And right away, just noticing again with these sassy hips, let's try to level them out. So exploring with where your right foot goes in order to feel nice and level in the hips. And it doesn't matter if your right toes are pointed up or if they're grounded. It just is a personal preference, whatever feels good to you. Good. So from here, inhale the left arm up, so you're one long line on this whole left side of the body. And as you exhale, slide the right hand down the right leg as you reach up and overhead. Notice my hand is avoiding the right knee. Let's not put any pressure on the right knee itself, not the joint. Good. One more inhale, reaching with the left fingers. One more exhale, really finding that side stretch. Good. Inhale, come back to center. We'll switch sides. So bringing the right knee in, keeping those hips above the knees, kicking the left foot out, leveling out the hips. Left toes grounded or lifted, your choice. Inhale, the right arm lifts all the way up. And exhale, leaning over to the left hand can slide down the leg. The gaze is maybe lifted, so underneath the right elbow. Good, one more inhale, reaching with the fingers. Exhale, finding that stretch. Inhale, come up through center. Hands come to the hips. The left leg comes back in. Okay. From here, we're gonna go through 2 rounds of camel pose. So again, you can add the blanket. If you didn't have a blanket, now you're realizing you might want one, now's the time. You can keep the toes tucked. That'll help keep your balance. From here, the hands come to the hips. Start to draw the hips directly over the knees. So already starting to engage the front of the legs, starting to engage the core, bringing the hips over the knees. Hands come to support your lower back. The fingertips come to that last rib, and you press the palms into the crest of your hips, right? Elbows coming close together, and already you'll see we're in a pretty deep back bend. So listen to your body. Notice how it feels to be in this pose. Maybe you start to lift the gaze up towards the ceiling. Maybe you keep the gaze forward, depending on what feels good. Keeping the breath even. Still drawing the hips forward, so pressing into the palms. One more breath. As you inhale, coming back up to center, keep the toes tucked and sit back on the heels. So we'll stretch out the feet while we are finding the neutral spine. We're gonna go through camel pose just one more time. You can stop or you can get off at whatever stop on the train feels right to you. So we're looking for some sensation, some stretching, some opening up, but no pain. So noticing where that edge lives for you, finding where it is maybe creating a little bit of sensation, but no damage is being done. There's no pain. So coming up on the knees, we'll start the same as the first. So fingers come to those lower ribs, palms come to the hips, elbows draw together, shoulders are away from the ears. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you start to lift the gaze this time, pressing the palms into the hips, keeping those hips forward, engaging through the legs. Maybe your gaze starts to drop all the way back behind you. Maybe this is where you stay. If you have any other version of camel you want to go to, maybe bringing one hand down at a time to your heels, or sliding the hands down the backs of your legs. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Just 2 more breaths, we can do it. 1 more breath. And coming out the same way you came in, so supporting the lower back, coming back to center, and then we can sit back on our heels, first creating that neutral spine. Good. So notice how that back bend felt. A lot of the times with back bends, we can discover some anxiety coming up. We can also discover just a lot of energy. If you're feeling a little sweaty now, that could be from releasing energetically in that back bend. From here, you can take a seat, kick your legs out to the side and around, so both legs are out in front of you. With both legs out in front, rock a little side to side. You can physically remove the flesh from your seat, so you're feeling really grounded here. Flexing through the toes, we'll stay active in the legs, but not so much that the heels lift off the floor. So we're just finding active legs, pressing up through the spine, creating a lot of space. And as you inhale, the arms reach up. And as you exhale, lead with the heart, folding towards the toes. Once you can't go any farther, that's when you relax the hands. So wherever the hands go, whether it's your shins or your feet, you can relax the hands. Take another deep breath in, working towards that stomach to upper leg connection as the heart reaches forward. And maybe this time as you exhale, you can start to relax the head, relax the neck. We'll take 2 more breaths. So again, inhale, the heart reaches forward, the belly comes towards the legs, and exhale, relax. 1 more time, inhale, and exhale. Good. So starting to walk yourself back up. Notice if there's still anything going on in the lower back, you want to stay in a fold, you can stay in a fold for a little bit longer. The rest of us are going to come into boat pose. So starting to bend through the knees, you can hover the feet off the floor. So you're balancing on the seat, not on the tailbone. So there's no discomfort here. Maybe the feet become parallel. Maybe the palms come face up by your legs. Maybe your legs become straight. Or last option, you can find yogi toe lock. So peace fingers wrapping around the big toe and finding a bit of a balance here in your boat. Nice. Staying with the breath. Noticing if your boat's starting to sink, you can give it a little bit of support behind the knees and come back into it. 1 more deep breath in. And as you exhale, keep the legs lifted as you just roll back onto your back. So now the soles of the feet are up towards the ceiling. You should be by the middle of your mat. So from here, you'll have a few options. The first option is to stay in this legs up the wall, or modified legs up the wall, because I don't have a wall. You can stay here working on reversing the blood flow. You can give your legs a little bit of support behind the knees. You can also bend your knees if that's more comfortable, but just keeping the legs long and above you. Or you can start to make your way into a shoulder stand. So if you have any discomfort in the neck, I would recommend staying like this. But if the neck and shoulders don't have any pain or injuries going on, let's try the shoulder stand. So you press into your arms to lift the hips, support the lower back with your hands. Start to roll those shoulders underneath as you press your toes up towards the ceiling. So again, noticing in your body what feels like a good stretch today might not be what felt good yesterday. So staying aware and present here. The breath should not be strained. There should be no excessive weight in the head or neck. Keep those elbows nice and close together. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. And if you're in that legs up the wall, you can stay there too. Good, last breath here. Those of you in shoulder stand, nice and slow, starting to roll back down. Keep your hands, the backs of your hands on your sacrum or by your hips, so that as you lower down, your hands are beneath your seat. And if you were in modified legs at the wall, you'll notice we're all there now. You can bring your hands a little bit underneath the hips as we find a fish pose. So you bring your legs all the way to the floor, you press into the elbows to lift the head and neck. Drop the neck back. Again, this is if it feels safe for you on your neck. No weight in the head, just opening up through the throat. Roll those shoulders away from the ears. And then you can start to relax all the way down onto the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. Maybe make some circles or rock side to side. Letting yourself feel what came up in the shoulder stand. Noticing the way that your spine feels. If you listened to your body. Let the arms come out to a T, and then just let the knees drop over to the left. The gaze can be neutral, or you can start to shift the gaze towards the right fingers, letting everything relax. You can close the eyes or maybe soften the gaze. Surrendering yourself to this posture. So there's no effort to sustain this twist. Everything is relaxed. And then we'll switch sides. So coming up through center in your own time. And then eventually the knees drop over to the right. And maybe the gaze shifts over to the left. Again, letting yourself totally relax. And this time, you can come back up to center. If there are any last movements that your body is asking for before we make our way into Shavasana, maybe a little windshield wiper with the knees, or a different twist, or a happy baby. If there's any way that you like to end your practice before Shavasana, go ahead and explore that. And then in the next couple of breaths, finding your Shavasana position. So letting yourself take up a lot of space. Your legs can be as wide as the mat, maybe letting the toes point out to the sides. Letting the arms be wide, palms face up. Starting to relax all the muscles. So relaxing your hands and feet. Unclenching the muscles of the abdomen. Letting the arms and legs be heavy and supported. Letting the shoulders and neck totally relax. The jaw unclenches. The lips part. The nostrils are relaxed. The eyes are heavy and the lids are relaxed. Relaxing even the space between your eyebrows. And as everything is relaxed, we'll take one nice deep breath in through the nose. And breathe it all out the mouth, letting every bit of tension go. Seal the lips and enjoy your rest. I'll bring you back in just a few minutes. So let yourself relax and absorb all the benefits of your practice. Home is not another person or a place outside of you. Home is the love you have within you. Home is the remembrance that you are already whole and complete. Yes, even with your wounds, even with the scars from your past, even with your shadows and fears and your old script, you don't need to chase love. You only need to remember the love that you are. So starting to deepen the breath. Keeping the eyes closed, you can wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Maybe roll out the wrists and the ankles, letting those movements get bigger and bigger. Maybe you find a big full body stretch. And then as you roll over to the right side, drawing your knees in towards your chest, laying in Garbhasana, fetal pose. Taking just a couple more breaths. Returning to your dedication. Appreciating this body that's always taking care of you. And giving yourself the opportunity to listen and let your body thank you. Keeping the eyes closed, gently find your way back up to sit. When you get here, hands can either come to heart center or rest on your knees like in the beginning of class. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice, for returning home, surrendering to this wild concept that you are already whole, you are already complete, you don't need to be fixed. Thank you for staying compassionate with yourself and present in your body. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, knowing that you are as much a part of the universe as the trees and the stars. And though there's no way we can know for sure, there's also no doubt that the universe is unfolding exactly the way that it should. Namaste.